The Borderlands movie trailer. Do you think it looks intriguing, or do you think it looks like a dumpster fire? It shows Lil using the Vladof Infinity. But if you look closely, you'll see that it doesn't actually have two functional spinning barrels. It has only one, spliced together with some kind of lug type of thing. And we see Clappy getting shot up quite a bit, and he survives it and expels the excess lead. Well, here's my theory on that. Maybe he's wearing an absorb shield, possibly a sham, maybe even a 94% sham. Only they went and took the whole absorb concept literally. Now, while I'm messing around, I should do something, I guess. Really just an excuse to talk about the movie trailer.
Armament here.
Hoping to score a level
Alright, we got guns over here.
68 or better Doll Intense Stomper with Barrel 4, Body 5, Stock 5, Sight 2, Material 3, which is the Desert Camo finish for Doll, and a base mag capacity of 18 rounds. That's the only thing that's even a little bit interesting. This would be good for brick. It has the Type 1 cylinder. It's called Mag 1, but obviously it's not a mag, it's a cylinder. By the way, revolvers are goofy in Borderlands 1 because the crane is hinged backwards. Show you what I mean. Well, you can't really tell because of the fast reload. Desert Stomper. I think that's the next best prefix you can have, the best being Intense. Intense indicates a crit bonus. Crimson Cobra. I know for sure that Desert is Material 3 for Doll. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Crimson is Material 3 for Hyperion. If I'm wrong about that, by all means, do correct me. This is a really well-built Mauler. Barrel 4, Body 5. The stock is a Type 2, which is the most basic for machine guns, but what the heck, it's a perfectly fine gun anyway. The most powerful Mauler would be a Torg, because of the nature of the brand. A Torg with this same barrel and this same body type. Barrel 4, Body 5. Best possible combination of damage, fire rate, and the accuracy would be at least good enough. Barrel 4 is the most powerful barrel type and offers the third best accuracy, and is generally regarded as preferable to Barrel 5 for exactly that reason. Now, level 67 Cobra. Remember, in Borderlands 1, you have to De-equip a weapon to your inventory to see its true level. That's a holdover from something to do with weapon proficiencies. It's a bit difficult for me to describe what it was they were going for. Anyway, all of this I'm just chatting to fill in the extra time, I guess. But yeah, Clappy in the trailer. I think we're seeing him make use of an absorb shield. And as for everything else, I can't think of anything to say about the trailer that hasn't already been said. Oh, Pisswash Gully. Yeah, I'm going to leave behind all that stuff. I don't need to sell it. Nothing here looks interesting to me. I don't need to collect it. Just for the... Yeah, I'm not interested in this. I'm not interested in this either. And I don't need the money, because if you have too much money in this game, then you'll lose all of it. If you have to respawn after having collected more than a certain amount of money, and it's something like $2.7 billion. And they only give you 7 digits to work with. And I've never understood why they didn't fix that. This is the enhanced edition. Why couldn't they have fixed that? Yeah, I'm complaining about more than just the movie trailer. Do tell me in the comments, please, if you think Clappy is using an absorb shield, and they took the absorb concept literally. Hyperion Allegiance would be really fun, especially for either Morty or Lil. SNS Morty is something I'd like to try. Jesper Kid, whose last name is Jacobson, with a K, worked on the soundtracks to most of the games. Maybe all the Borderlands games, I don't know for sure. I still haven't played all of them. Is it pronounced Jesper or Jesper? I know in some languages, a lot of languages actually, the letter J makes the Y sound. The hard J sound is relatively recent, and in fact the letter J itself is a relatively young letter. I'm imagining Saturn showing up. Apart from the movie trailer, I also wanted to talk about allegiance runs. I'm not the only Pandora head who likes to do allegiance runs in Borderlands 1. What would be the ultimate allegiance dream team? Team Allegiance that's really purpose-built for high performance. Well, there's no shortage of options. I think, and if you're really going for high performance team allegiance, with a team focus,
I got the ride. Mounting up.
then you want everyone to use team-focused class mods. I hate Sight 1. Sight 1 is technically a scope. It's a dinky scope, but it is a scope. Sight 2, for combat rifles, that's this one, is a dot sight, yet it has somehow more zoom, more magnification than Sight 1. Such video game logic. I think it's a little bit hard to tell. 1.4 power zoom, 2 power zoom, 2.4 power zoom. I think this is Sight 3 for combat rifles. And by all means, correct me if I'm wrong. This has barrel 5 and body 4 and stock 1. This has barrel 4, body 5, stock 5, sight 1. I personally would prefer sight 2. And an 18 round base mag capacity. This has barrel 5, body 3, stock 1, and sight 2. So hold on. Vehicular weapons are made by TDOR in Borderlands 1. That's why they have unlimited ammo. And no, I don't remember where I read that. But don't take my word for it. By all means, look it up. Corroborate sources if you feel like it. Ha! I love stompers. Their only weakness is slow bullets, which can be overridden with Lil's high velocity skill, if you're playing as Lil. I did Dahl Allegiance as Lil, and I got lots of use out of Stompers. Quicksilver, high velocity, mercenary class mod. Everyone thinks Dahl is ordinary, but they're actually versatile. Some Pandora heads think soldier and commando character classes are ordinary, but they're not so much ordinary as they are versatile. They're for generalists rather than specialists, and I consider myself more of a generalist than a specialist. So soldier and commando mains represent. Oh, Pisswash Gully. In Borderlands 1, this is all that is. It's just a gorge that you ramp an outrunner over. This is Pisswash Gully. An ordinary, relatively small gorge or chasm. In the movie, apparently, they went and turned that into a drawn-out throwaway gag. Another example of them taking the name of something and turning a literal gag, taking it literally to make a gag out of it. Kind of in the style of the Beetlejuice cartoon. Not that there's anything wrong with that when it's done right. I love that cartoon. I watched that all the time back in the day. I just hope that they don't go so nuts with that it becomes tedious. Because this mythos really is more than that. I'm kind of just milling around, and I chose to mill around here in the arid Badlands because that's where Pisswash Gully is, but also just for sheer nostalgia. Could see how my Stomper deals with Mothrack. Not very well. Move! Sheesh! Take half a year, why don't you? Screw that noise. Stompers on any difficulty are usually pretty good boss killers, badass destroyers. Yet it's one of those weapon types that most players overlook. I've never used golden keys, except for the one that I had in Borderlands 2. I used it on my first cell at level 10, I think, and I got purple level 10 Vladov Pushka, a fire one. Why do I remember that? Vladov Pushka Malawan barrel. And I think it also had a Malawan scope. I don't remember what kind of it. I think it had a Hyperion grip, and I definitely don't remember what kind of stock it had. I'm almost done here. I just needed an excuse to yak, mostly about the movie trailer. I still don't understand why they reversed this compared to how it was in OG Borderlands 1. The bank was here and your backpack was here, like transposed. So we saw a Vladov Infinity in the trailer, which likely indicates that they're going to be basing the weapons mostly on Borderlands 2. But they've thrown random details into a blender from all the games to create a mishmash. Dandy Bitchford himself even said that the movie sort of stands apart from the games, from the saga as we know it, from the timeline, whatever. Every company's weakness can be overcome by having a certain weapon part, one or two weapon parts, be of type 3 quality or better. And if you're one of those who started out with Borderlands 2, then you start playing Borderlands 1 for the first time, everything might look really confusing to you. Because you'd be like, well, how do these weapon parts work? And I don't know if it's simpler or more complex or just different in Borderlands 1. But basically, you have a collection of weapon parts, differs per weapon type, as you might imagine, and each individual part has up to 5 different variations. But they're not just numerically better. Like, it's not just the type 5 part is better than all the previous parts. At least when it comes to barrel types. As I pointed out before, this Hyperion Cobra has barrel 5. This S&S Mauler and this Doll Stomper both have barrel 4. Notice the differences in damage and accuracy. Barrel types grant bonuses, or I guess you could say penalties, like barrel 2 for machine guns has the lowest accuracy. Let's see if I have one of those. There it is, barrel 2 for machine guns. Here's something they actually did fix. They actually made the Draco properly labeled as a legendary. Barrel 2, least desirable barrel type to have on sniper rifles because it's least accuracy. And it's especially the least accuracy if it's a Torg. Refer back to what I said before. The weakness of Torg can be overcome just by having barrel types 3, 4, or 5. And barrel 3 is at least a bit more accurate than barrel 4. But because barrel 4 grants at least a bit more damage, that's why it's usually the most desirable barrel type. Max damage, Carmageddon reference, and third best accuracy, barrel 3, and this is an elemental carnage. Elemental carnage guns are probably about as rare as some of the rarer legendaries. These things are fun to use, maybe a bit more fun to use than ordinary explodey carnages, because they proc per shot. A fire one is actually kind of fun to use against zombies. An acid one would be kind of fun to use against Crimson Lance. I don't know body types for shotguns or sniper rifles. I still need to learn that. Barrel 2, which actually works kind of well for a masher. Barrel 2 being the least accurate barrel type, but granting more damage than barrel 1. And because it's the least accurate barrel, that's kind of okay on a masher. Because maybe you want a looser pattern with a shotgun revolver. I'm not sure if there's really an absolute best combination of parts for shields, but I've noticed that this combination of parts produces good results. I call it the 3 prongs, the dog dish hubcap, and the soda can, or beer can. Barrel 4, sight 3. And I don't know what kind of stock that is. I don't know any of these other parts. This is the only... It's a 66, so I'm not going to bother with it. I don't like to use anything lower than 67 on playthrough 2.5. This is basically an electric shotgun, except it's kind of a bit more fun to use than regular elemental electric shotguns. In my opinion, in Borderlands 1, shotguns just don't make for good elemental delivery systems because they don't proc per shot. Notice how all the ammo is gone, but the weapons aren't, and the items aren't. I only like elemental weapons in Borderlands 1. Is that a twin shot jobber? Yeah. Double repeater. If they proc per shot unless they're full auto. If they're full auto, they don't really need to proc per shot. They can get away with procking every however many rounds. And they don't proc after a regular number of shots. I would like that. I have a more lawful D&D alignment, so I prefer consistency and reliability. I'm a lawful good Hufflepuff. Technically, neutral good with lawful tendencies, which is also called social good. Might sound boring to you, but in a world where chaotic evil is the status quo, lawful good becomes an act of rebellion. If lawful evil is the status quo, then chaotic good is the most ideal form of rebellion. And being neutral good means I could swing either way. Lawful good or chaotic good. Being neutral good with lawful tendencies means that under most normal-ish circumstances, I prefer to swing in the direction of lawful good. Notice the capacity 203. Of course, that makes me think of an M203, like the one you can get in Stalker Anomaly. Well, I can't think of anything else to yak about. So yeah, primary thing is, do you think Clappy was wearing an absorb shield? Possibly a 94 Sham in the movie trailer. See you next mission, slabs. And in the words of Bruce Campbell, catch you on the flip-flop.